3 months later, and I'm finally back with a deeper voice in another video. I'm not doing the recap series anymore because it's just too much content for me to stuff in one video. Plus, I'd be better off with more video ideas considering that I never keep a consistent uploading schedule anymore. Also gonna be sticking to story videos a lot more because they're honestly my favorite kind of videos I like to make. Anyways, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the second time I've ever tried a tab of acid, how I ended up driving on it, hanging out with a bunch of people, and having a night that could have gone south. To be honest, I thought I would never drive off of anything other than weed, but I was generous enough to bring a friend to get something from the McDonald's drive-thru. Pretty stupid idea. I wouldn't do it again. Before we get into this video, please make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you're new to my content, don't forget to click on the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload, show this video to anybody that has ever driven off acid before, and let's play Driving on Acid. Once upon a Sunday morning, a buddy of mine decided to hit me up and see if I wanted to chill at his uncle's for the day. Nobody was over at the crib but him, so it was essentially an open crib, right? For this video, we're going to call him Michael. This story takes place almost 3 months ago. I came over with my dad's truck that my dad gave me a few days before my birthday. Michael mentioned that he wanted to buy some acid. Since I was generous and he already knew who to pick up from, I gave him a ride to the dealer, in which, therefore, he picks up a 10 strip, or 10 tabs in a strip. After that, we linked with another friend at a Walmart parking lot just to bring her back to the crib we were just at, because that was necessary. We went back to the house to chill. Michael started feeling generous himself and offered both of us a tab. The girl we were with was tempted to take one right then and there, but she had to drive back home soon. I didn't want her to take those kind of drugs before she got behind the wheel. Instead, she just saved her tab for later. I still didn't think it was a good idea considering she's going to be at the crib, but hey, I'm not her father. Plus, I can't really say shit. I popped my tab right then and there. Eventually, she left, and me and Michael just chilled at the crib for a while. We smoked some weed, talked about how good the day was going so far, and how we should plan some more stuff for the day. And that's exactly what we did. We hit up a couple of friends to come over and take acid with us. They were down for it, but I was already too fucked up to drive all the way to where they were, and they had to skateboard all the way here. So they started to head to where we were. After a while, me and Michael really started tripping, but I felt really used to it for some odd reason. Like, it didn't hit me nearly as hard as the first time, but I still felt the hit. Then out of nowhere, Michael starts asking me to bring him to McDonald's for a fucking drink. I was telling him that I wasn't trying to drive down there, but he just kept asking until I folded. It wasn't peer pressure because I actually ended up saying fuck it and went for the drive to see how the road would look. I couldn't possibly be too fucked up to drive down the street, right? We got in the truck and I started driving. To be honest, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, but I was still kind of sketched out, not properly feeling the motion of the truck and seeing the lines on the road, sky, and traffic lights change color. I'm glad I pulled through. Highly don't recommend this to anyone. After we got his drink, we ran into the two guys we hit up to come over, and they ended up just hopping in the truck with us back to the crib. We got back, Michael offers them a tab, and they start tripping an hour later. We got bored again, and the two people, we'll call them Chris and Robert, that we picked up at McDonald's started inviting people over to hang out, but they weren't getting to get any free acid as Michael already gave out half of what he paid for. But Michael and I were convinced that everybody who was invited by them were approved by Michael, and that we were told about it in the first place. But unfortunately, after all the invited people came over, we realized that they were bringing friends, and their friends were bringing friends, and so on and so forth. It was like 10 or 15 people deep, and it was just a mess. I mean, we were kind of chill at first because it was just people saying what's up to people catching up with other people's lives, and having vapes in rotation. Everything was going somewhat different for a little while, actually, right until one of the guys ended up getting drunk off the alcohol somebody else had with him, taking an acid tab before he even show up, encountered another person who was accused of fucking his girlfriend and tried to fight him. For a person who was fucked up, he had some strength. The dude being accused even got mad and got a little physical himself, so a bunch of people were trying to break up the fight, and during the process it was loud as fuck. There were literally neighbors and pedestrians nearby walking down the street and looking at us and shit. We weren't even trying to get the cops called. Finally, the fight gets broken up and the fucked up dude gets kicked out along with the friend that came with him. I guess he had to make sure bro was alright and not too fucked up. Other people decided to leave themselves too just because they didn't want to be around any kind of fuck shit. After that, it was just me, Michael, Chris, and Robert were essentially the original group of friends that were going to hang out and trip acid together for the night. Fast forward to really late at night, we were all still up. We wanted to get more weed in the function because we were running out. We had money for it, so we figured we could invite someone to hang out with us and drive to get more weed for us, along with getting alcohol for the select few. However, the girl that would end up showing up to the house had already stolen her mom's keys and went to us without a driver's license, but obviously we didn't care. We saw it as something we can get away with, along with making the night continuously good. So they got the money ready for the dealer and they left. Chris and I were the only ones that were waiting at the house. After a few minutes, we got really bored and decided to smoke the rest of the weed. I suggested doing it outside of the house because I was getting tired of the heat. The house didn't have any air conditioning. So me and Chris were chilling in my dad's truck. It's almost 3 in the morning and we've been waiting for the other guys and the girl to come back for a while. We were smoking the last bit of weed we had left out of his piece. I got a pretty good hit, which was satisfying, but that cocky feeling would be quick to disappear because right when I started coughing, a fucking cop comes right around the corner and pulls up at the house right behind my truck. So Chris and I ducked as soon as we saw the cop. It smells like weed. The person responsible for the house wasn't home and we were all still tripping off of acid. After we ducked, we saw Michael and Robert get out of the cop truck, because it was a truck, and just casually walked back to the house. They saw us and smirked, but they kept that attention away from the cop that was still sitting right behind me in the truck. The cop didn't even leave until like 15-20 minutes after Michael and them went back in the house. After the cop left, Chris and I went back in for them to spill out the bad beans. I mean, shit, at that point, we already knew the mission for the weed already went south. After they got the weed and alcohol, the girl ended up getting pulled over for having her headlights out. The girl got caught in her mom's car without permission with weed and alcohol. None of them got arrested, but the girl did face a lot of repercussions for it. Michael and Robert literally ended up just finessing a ride back to where we were without getting charged for shit. They were pretty lucky they got out of that situation because keep in mind, the whole time we were all still tripping on acid. After all of that, we just rode out our acid trip for a few more hours as things became pretty boring. So it hits 5:30 in the morning, the acid was wearing off and I was actually really fucking tired. Like I was weaving in and out of my conscience. Everybody else was still tripping. I wanted to leave and go home, but I was their only ride home and they wanted to make sure the house was all clean before Michael's uncle would come home to a messy house and an attitude. Eventually they finished cleaning. I didn't contribute any help. I felt completely worn out. I was surprised I was still able to drive. I brought everyone home, including Michael, because he was staying at his dad's house. We were at his uncle's. After that, I went home, passed out for a few hours, and woke up to George Floyd's death all over the news. The end. The moral of this story is don't drive under the influence. Scratch that. Don't do drugs. They rot your brain. Don't peer pressure your friends into driving under the influence. If you let your friends drive off the shits for some soda, you ain't shit, your mom ain't shit, and you know it. I guess I can't really tell y'all to stay in school and get good grades for a while because it's summer and the coronavirus has already sketched out every school district and the world. I'm sure if that shit came back in session, this pandemic would reach its highest peak by fucking far. Also, keep watching my YouTube videos. That should conclude today's video. Once again, if you like this video, please give this video a like, subscribe if you're new to my content, and don't forget to click on the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload. Follow me on all of my social media, links will be in the description below. Share this video to anybody that's ever driven off acid before, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Hopefully it'll come a lot sooner. Peace out. Sauce.